Now you've got the votes. Now you've got to sell it to the American people, though. And as we were talking off camera, 12 Republicans said no. They voted against this. So to those 12 Republicans and to the 47% of Americans, according to a Monmouth University poll, who feel their taxes are going to go up, what do you say?
I think they're wrong, Kevin. I think that this bill provides tax relief up and down the income ladder, and specifically people who are working and have kids, they're going to see a doubling in the child tax credit. They're going to see reduced tax rates. They're going to see relief from AMT, the alternative minimum income tax. They're going to see a doubling of the standard deduction. And in my state, in my district, I think almost 9 out of 10 families will be able to take the standard deduction up from 7 out of 10 today.
I was talking with Congressman Walker just a couple of minutes ago, and he made the point that in the Reagan administration, folks also thought that their taxes were going to go up. But, I mean, look, the Democrats are united in their opposition. They're going to run on this in 2018. Are deficits a concern here? Because some Democrats are making that concern privately, and you're going to vote tomorrow on a bill to keep the government open. What do you say to Republicans who are looking at the next 3 months, and they hear things like infrastructure, they look at national deficits, and they're concerned?
Well, I'd say that spending is a concern, and 2/3 of the spending in this budget is in mandatory programs that aren't even covered by our annual votes in Congress. And if we're serious about deficit reduction, we need to tackle mandatory spending programs. Point one. Point two is we have had 10 years of slow economic growth, low productivity, and stagnant wages. And this bill is about spurring economic growth, getting the economic growth rate up faster to produce higher revenues, which can lower deficit risk, not increase deficit.
I don't want to get too far ahead of it, but we are already focusing on what's next in terms of the legislative priority calendar. I was in the Senate Banking Committee earlier today, and I was talking with some sources over there, and community regulatory relief for banks and Dodd-Frank is something that is a realistic possibility in the first quarter of next year. 2 votes on the House later this week, advancing out of House Financial Services Committee. Right. Are we going to get community banking regulatory relief first quarter of next year?
I'm optimistic that we can get community bank regulatory relief with the work Senator Crapo's done and all the work we've done in the House Financial Services Committee. And I would say to everyone listening on Bloomberg that regulatory reform, continued reduction in regulatory costs, and tax reform both help our economy more efficient and raise productivity.
First quarter of next year, though?
I believe we can do it in the first quarter next year.
Infrastructure, that's what President Trump wants next year. Is that realistic? You know the politics of your own party.
Right.
A lot of folks are concerned about more government spending. Some folks on the Fed suggest that even could be a concern. How realistic is it to get infrastructure done next year?
I don't know what infrastructure means in the sense of how to pay for it and how much of it's federal spending versus state spending versus public-private partnerships. We need to hear from the administration. What is their definition of greater infrastructure spending? How would it be targeted? How would it be paid for? How would it be structured?
Sounds like you need more answers from the administration, at least in terms of an infrastructure plan.
I agree with that.